let me put some of you people up on game. You see, a lot of people in America, they don't travel, especially black folks. They don't travel. Even Tariq Nasheed spoke about it. Muta Baruka from Jamaica, he spoke about it, not about black Americans, but about black people in general, that they hardly travel. And I get it, the economy is bad, that type of stuff. But when you don't travel, you learn less. And the reason I say that is because a lot of you guys don't travel, so you don't get to see anything outside of what white folks put in your faces. For example, well, let me not use an example. Let me just get straight into it. You have some YouTubers and some people who claim that only black Americans fight against white supremacy or speak out against it, and that's not true. That is not true. I even heard Tariq Nasheed say that bullshit. It's not true. Now, do black Americans understand racism way better than Caribbean people? Yes, because you guys grew up around them. In Jamaica, we grew up around, I would say like it's a sliver. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. Right? In Jamaica, they're more like behind the scenes, and they put like the coons out there to be in charge of stuff. But like here in America, you see them on televisions, you see them at work. When I say work, I don't mean at your place of employment, but you see them actively doing stuff. They're in your faces, right? We have Jews and these type of people in Jamaica. We'll see them, and they control shit. So we understand it. Just maybe not on the scale that black Americans will understand it. But the music called reggae music, there's a reason why it's so popular. The potency of that music is why it's so popular. That music is so powerful because it's a music about the black experience, a black struggle, fighting for freedom, wanting to be free. Now, white folks have placed Bob Marley in the faces of everybody. So a lot of you people who don't travel, all you know is Bob Marley. Many of you guys don't know Peter Tosh. Go online and go on YouTube, type in Peter Tosh, Petertosh. He was a part of the group that Bob Marley was in, the Wailers, before they split up. A white man split them up. Keynote. Peter Tosh was the writer in the group. That song, Get Up, Stand Up for Your Rights, that Bob Marley did with Peter Tosh wrote that song, among other songs. Peter Tosh was the rebel, which is why they didn't push him. White people didn't push Peter Tosh because he was talking too much about legalizing marijuana, fighting against the Queen, the popes, all this type of stuff, fighting against oppression, fighting for black people across the world, not just black Jamaicans. We still have Sizzla Kalonji, who from the 90s have been waking us up, singing about black woman and child, Mother Africa. He did songs, uplifting black people, talking about the pride of black people, talking about slavery, teaching people from in the 90s not to worship the image of the white God. He has a song called I Have No White God, Don't Teach Me Anything Wrong. You have Capleton. You have Tony Rebel. You have so many more of these artists. You have Burning Spear. You have Lee Scratch Perry. I think it was Burning Spear who did that song, Let's Recall Some Great Men Who've Been Fighting for Our Rights. Recall Marcus Garvey. He called out a lot of freedom fighters for black people across the world. So when I hear people like, you know, I'm not shitting on Tariq Nasheed because I watch a lot of his stuff. I've learned a lot from him. But when I hear him say certain stuff like, oh, it's black Americans, it's only black Americans who fight for everybody in the world, and that's bullshit. That's bullshit. What I do, or what I must admit, is that America is a first world country. So of course you're going to have bigger platforms, more sophisticated platforms for black folks in America to get their voices heard or to be seen. The microscope is always on America. It's been a world power for a long time. Jamaica is not a world power. But with the tiny island that we come from, we've made a lot of noise. So we don't have that platform. That's why a lot of you people might not see or might not know what we're doing over there or what we have been doing. Because let's face it, since the 90s and the early 2000s, a lot of people depended on their local news and CNN and NBC to be their windows to the world. They didn't know anything else about what's going on across the world. So they sure would know what's going on in Jamaica and how Jamaica has been fighting and struggling with England, with the royals, the Queen, for reparation and stuff like that. So when you have people coming on YouTube who don't know anything, a lot of them, they love to, there's nothing wrong with reading, but they have no experience. They don't observe, they don't travel. Some of them, all they do is read, and they read what other people wrote, not knowing if it's true or false. And then they come on YouTube spewing a whole bunch of nonsense, talking as if they know everything. They don't know anything. There have been many, many, many freedom fighters coming out of Jamaica. Many. Many. Fighting for the freedom and the liberation of black descendants of slaves. Not just Jamaicans. So when I hear these people talking this nonsense about only black Americans do this and do that, listen, yes, black Americans have done a lot, but you're not the only ones. Muta Baruka is still out there doing his thing. Sizzla Kalonji had his visa revoked and work permit revoked by England, America. I'm not sure if it happened with France. But he couldn't go to Europe either, so I think it was revoked by France too. They wanted him to apologize to the gays for offending them or singing songs against homosexuality. And Sizzla Kalonji decided he's not going to apologize. He even did a song about it. Rastaman don't apologize to nobody, boy. We're not cowards out there. Yeah, we have coons in Jamaica. We have coons in the Caribbean. Jamaica is a stronghold of the Caribbean. Jamaica is the stronghold of the Caribbean. That's where the power comes from. The music, the culture, everything. So I'm going to zero in on Jamaica. Not because I'm from there, but because it's true. It is a stronghold of the Caribbean. We're not cowards. We have some coons, yes. But we're not cowards. We might not understand white supremacy on the level of black Americans, but we understand it enough. Yes, we have some coons who will smile and show their teeth just to get $1. Yes, that happens there. Shame on them. But we still have Jamaicans fighting. They're making their voices heard. It's not on a large scale like it is here in America. But they do what they're doing there. They're still fighting for reparations. Muta Baruka is one of them who went to, I think it was Ghana or Gambia, or one of those countries in Africa, and spoke to the president and persuaded him to have descendants of slaves from the Caribbean and America get green cards over there in that country in Africa. Mutabaruka did that. But a lot of you Americans wouldn't know that because you're not privy to that information, because you just listen to the guys here on YouTube who talk a lot of shit, believing that Caribbean people are coons and they're from the islands and they no, it's not true. It's false. These people don't know shit. They don't leave Chicago. They don't leave some of the states that they're in. Some of them leave California and places like that, but some of them, they don't leave North Carolina or wherever they are. Mutabaruka has been friendly with many of the presidents or the prime ministers there in Africa. He's friends with a lot of them. And you have a lot of Jamaicans who move to Africa. Bob Marley's wife lives in Africa. She has land for herself there. I think they gave that to her. A whole bunch of Jamaicans live there. They get green cards there because of negotiations and friendships that were built. And when Mutabaruka went there, and Tony Rebel and these guys, they don't only speak, and Sizzla, they don't only speak for Black Caribbean people, they speak for descendants of slaves. They don't talk about CDOS, Caribbean descendants of slaves. They don't talk about JDOS, Jamaican descendants of slaves. They talk about all of them. And they kick open the doors down there for those of you who want to go to Africa. Because Africa is not a suffering place. Africa is a continent with many countries. My friends have gone there. Hopefully I go there this year. I've seen pictures and videos. It's beautiful down there. So when I hear this nonsense that, other people, other black folks who don't want to be black, they're not doing anything, they're not speaking up, you're lying. Don't speak about what you don't know. I'm sick and tired of hearing the islands like you're mocking us. I'm tired of that shit. I keep speaking out against the separation that people are trying to create, the divide between Caribbean people and Black Americans, or Black Caribbean people, I should say, and Black Americans. It's not necessary. It's not. Why are people doing that shit? I've never heard any Jamaicans saying we need to separate ourselves from every other black folks in the world. No, they don't do that. They went to Africa and spoke up for everybody. Just stop the nonsense, man. And if you don't know anything, ask. Stop spreading lies and misinformation. I'm out.